In the deep, crystalline silence of the Duke's archives, there resides a creature whose existence is defined entirely by the agony of what he lacks. Seath the Scaleless is not merely a boss or a dragon. He is the personification of cosmic resentment, a being born into a world of perfection as a singular, weeping flaw. To understand Seath, one must go back to the Age of Ancients, a time of gray crags and archtrees, ruled by the everlasting dragons. These dragons were not living things in the way we understand them. They were transcendent, timeless beings possessed of stone scales that granted them true immortality. But Seath was a mutation, born without scales. He was a creature of soft, vulnerable flesh in a world of unyielding stone. While his brothers and sisters were eternal, Seath was born with a death sentence. This foundational trauma, this realization of his own mortality, became the engine that drove him to commit the ultimate betrayal, an act of genocide that would reshape the universe and birth the Age of Fire. Seath's betrayal of his own kind was not born of political ambition, but of a desperate, suffocating envy. He conspired with Lord Gwyn, revealing the secret that the dragon's scales could be peeled away by the power of lightning. He watched as his kin were systematically slaughtered, their immortality stripped from them by the very secrets he provided. For this service, Gwyn granted Seath the title of Duke and a massive library in which to conduct his research. But the immortality Seath craved remained out of reach. Within the grand, spiraling halls of the Duke's archives, Seath began a descent into a madness that would eventually consume his mind and the land of Lordran itself. He became the father of sorcery, the first being to formalize the manipulation of soul energy into magical arts. Yet every discovery he made was stained by the blood of his victims. He was a scientist without a conscience, a blind researcher who viewed the world as a laboratory and its inhabitants as mere reagents. The physical state of Seath when the player finally encounters him is a haunting reflection of his internal rot. He is a grotesque mockery of a dragon. Having no legs, he drags himself along on a mass of writhing, pale tentacles. His wings are tattered, crystalline membranes that are useless for flight, and his eyes have long since clouded over, leaving him blind. He is a creature of pale, sickly white, standing in stark contrast to the majestic stone dragons of old. Most importantly, he achieved a form of immortality, but it was a false one. He discovered the primordial crystal, an artifact stolen from the Age of Dragons, which grants him a regenerative power so potent he cannot be harmed. But this is a fragile, hollow victory. His life is tied to an external object. He is not truly immortal, but merely a prisoner of a magical life support system. He is a god who can be shattered with a single blow to a piece of glass, a metaphor for the inherent instability of his stolen power. The Duke's archives themselves are a monument to this obsession. The bookshelves are packed with the forbidden knowledge of centuries, yet the air is thick with the sound of the Pizzicas, the weeping, blue-tentacled monstrosities locked in the lower dungeons. These creatures were once human maidens, kidnapped by Seath's multi-eyed channelers and subjected to horrific experiments in an attempt to bridge the gap between flesh and crystal. The fact that they still weep, even in their mindless state, proves that Seath's science was nothing more than a systematic destruction of the soul. He sought to understand life by breaking it, to find immortality by studying death. His legacy is one of intellectual brilliance poisoned by an unfixable void. He is the source of the Moonlight Greatsword, a weapon of pure, luminous beauty, yet it was birthed from the tale of a creature that had forgotten the meaning of mercy. Seath's influence on the world of Dark Souls is inescapable. He is the mentor to Big Hat Logan, the legendary sorcerer who followed Seath's footsteps directly into the abyss of insanity. Logan's fate, stripping naked in the archives, driven mad by the sheer weight of the dragon's secrets, shows us that Seath's knowledge is not meant for the human mind. It is a cold, crystalline logic that demands the total erasure of empathy. To study under Seath is to lose one's humanity. Even in later ages, the Pale Drake is remembered as a source of both wonder and terror, his soul persisting through time, influencing future scholars like those in the Brightstone Cove of Tseldora. He is a ghost that haunts the very concept of magic, a reminder that the pursuit of knowledge, when divorced from morality, leads only to a beautiful, frozen hell. Facing Seath in the crystal caves is an exercise in atmospheric dread. The path to his lair is invisible, made of light and shadow, reflecting the deceptive nature of his power. When you finally stand before him, you aren't fighting a noble beast. You are fighting a desperate, flailing god who is terrified of the dark. His attacks involve lashing out with crystals that curse the player, turning them into stone. A final, bitter irony from a dragon who was denied a stone body of his own. He wants to turn the world into the very thing he could never be. When the player finally shatters the primordial crystal, the look of sheer, panicked realization that must cross Seath's blind face is the culmination of thousands of years of hubris coming to an end. The Scaleless One finally meets the death he spent an eternity trying to outrun. Ultimately, Seath the Scaleless is a tragedy of the ego. He was a being of immense potential who chose to burn the world down because he couldn't stand to be different. He represents the danger of the intellectual elite, who believe their brilliance exempts them from the laws of nature and the requirements of compassion. He achieved everything he wanted: titles, power, immortality, and a legacy. And yet he died a blind, tentacled freak in a cave, surrounded by the weeping of his victims. He is a haunting reminder that what we lack often defines us more than what we possess. Seath was born without scales, but in the end, it was his lack of a heart that truly destroyed him. His story is the golden thread of tragedy that runs through the history of Lordran, a warning that even the brightest magic can cast the darkest shadow. As his soul is finally claimed, the player is left with the Lord Vessel and a fragment of a great soul, but also a profound sense of the cost of that power. Seath's archives stand as a silent, dusty tomb to a dragon who wanted to be a god but succeeded only in becoming a monster. The crystals continue to glitter in the dark, and the music of the archives continues to play, a mournful dirge for a betrayer who was ultimately betrayed by his own obsession. He was the architect of magic, the betrayer of stone, and the scaleless king of a kingdom made of glass. His death marks the end of the age of divine madness, leaving the player to wonder if the knowledge he left behind was ever worth the price of the souls he consumed to find it. Seath the Scaleless is the ultimate symbol of the corruption that comes with forbidden knowledge. Born as a fragile anomaly among immortal kin, his jealousy drove him to betray his race and spend an eternity in a mad, crystalline pursuit of the permanence he was denied. His archives are a testament to his genius and his cruelty, housing the foundations of all sorcery alongside the mutated remains of his victims. In the end, Seath's story is a warning that to seek the secrets of the gods without the soul of a human is to become a prisoner of one's own brilliance, forever blind to the beauty of the world beyond the glass.